The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
Hi, this is Brad Marcus, and welcome to another episode of Toiletside Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from the great state of North Carolina, not South Carolina, one better, North Carolina. And she began her in-ring career in 2017. She's worked for such promotions as Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, Platinum Pro, Premier Wrestling Experience, Coastal Championship Wrestling, River City Wrestling, and of course, NWA, where she's the current Women's World Champion. Along the way, she shared the ring with likes of Shalance Royal, Mercedes Martinez, Kira Hogan, Hillary Duff's sister, Haley, Melina, Chelsea Green, Serena Deeb, Alex Gracia, and I could go on, but I'm not going to. So let's welcome today's guest, someone who will possibly be adopting my children by the end of this episode. Fingers crossed, but we'll see. I give you Kamille Brickhouse. Kamille, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for giving me your Thursday. It's Thursday. Your
Yep.
Thursday night.
No problem.
Does anyone ever mispronounce your name? Does anyone ever call you Kamille or Kamille?
No, I probably say it different than everybody else, actually.
How do you pronounce it?
Kamille.
Okay, all right. Well, I probably not, since I have your attention at this point, I won't have to address you by your name anymore in case I can fall asleep or something. Okay, the first thing I wanted to ask you, this is nothing to do with wrestling. What's your relationship with the Chicken Pound?
Oh, so I'm one of their ambassadors now.
Okay.
And it's super helpful because on my meal plan, I eat a lot of chicken. And I was always having to put it in the air fryer. And I know that sounds so lazy because the air fryer is already very lazy, but but for traveling and stuff, it was super convenient that these were already like prepackaged little things, and all you have to do is heat them up. You can heat them up in the air fryer, put them on the oven, like on the stovetop, or you can just put them in the microwave. So it's great.
Is this like something that you would service you'd order online?
Yes. Yes, so they have, I think, like a 10-pound box and a 20-pound box. So each,
geez.
Each, it comes with, so like one thing like this is a pound, and those two, it like comes in that little package is like two things of chicken. So the 2 things of chicken equals 1 pound. So if you got the 10-pound box, you would get 10 of those.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm a big chicken lover. I've never said that out. I've never said that. I've told them, hey, I'm a chicken lover. I don't know why that word came out. I tried pulling it back as it was coming out. No, but I really like chicken, and I saw that. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So how did you get involved with them? Like,
I actually discovered them because I follow this this IFBB pro that is in the fitness division on Instagram, and I watch all of her like YouTube videos and stuff like that. And she's sponsored by them, and I was like, that's really convenient. And she like uses them for her whole prep. So they have different flavors, and they have just a completely plain one that's like not cooked with oil, doesn't have anything on it at all, so it's like very prep friendly. But they also have other flavors. And yeah, I was just like, I just hit them up, and I basically hit them up and told them that I ordered my first box, so I wasn't just reaching out like for free stuff. I was like, I just ordered my first box. I'm really excited, and then we got talking from there. So.
Oh, that's so. So you're eating chicken, I assume, for every single meal at this point?
So for breakfast, I have Greek yogurt and like a protein shake and oatmeal and stuff. So that's my protein for breakfast. And then for dinner, I have lean beef. And then, so actually, I have 5 meals a day, and out of those 5 meals, only 2 of them are chicken meals.
How long has this diet been going on for?
Oh, I got the new coach in January, but even before that, chicken was because even with my old coach, I probably had even more chicken on the plan than this one.
At what age did you start eating healthy? I mean, I don't mean it like that. Like,
no, I totally understand what you mean. It's I started when COVID hit. I did a bodybuilding competition, and that's when I kind of got on like a meal plan. And then I fell off after, because I was like, okay, I did my competition. I can just go back, to eating whatever. And that was a really bad idea, because my body was not used to that. And I gained a ton of weight fast. And so now I just try to stick to a meal plan. I'm not prepping for anything per se right now, but I would like to possibly do a competition by the end of the year. So I'm just trying to kind of, it's really hard to get back into it when you fall off. So just kind of staying in that consistent, because if it was up to me, I would eat twice, maybe 3 times a day, and just then be really big meals. But now it's more like 5 times a day, and they're smaller meals. So, I mean, it comes out probably around the same, but that consistency of staying on it's supposed to be good for bodybuilding and stuff. I don't know all the science behind it. I just do what my coach tells me.
Okay. Prior to, starting to eat like healthy like that before, your bodybuilding competition, do you feel better than you did prior to that?
I don't know.
Like, can you feel like, yeah, I feel great. So much better than...
Honestly, and this is probably TMI, but I've been pretty open about like my mental health stuff and everything.
Sure.
Probably not, because I'm on medicine and stuff now that makes me feel I don't have a lot of energy and stuff a lot. Yeah. So probably not. I don't really, it's not like I eat healthy and feel fantastic. I'm usually very tired.
Yeah. I have to take for mental illness. I have to take a lot of medicine too.
Yeah.
And I get real tired.
Yeah.
So okay, well, we can do a mental health episode another time.
Yeah.
Let people into see the dark parts of
right.
Okay, another thing I noticed. So are you a realtor?
Well, I got my real estate license also during the COVID times, because we weren't doing anything. I did a little bit with that, but now that wrestling's starting back up, I actually got with a company where I put my real estate license into a referral group. So I can still have my license, be an active license, and I don't have to go through the whole process of taking the test over again and all that stuff, but I can't practice real estate. So I couldn't help you with the transaction, but I could refer you to somebody.
Okay. So if my wife left me, you could help me find
yes, I can help you find
a 1-room apartment.
Yeah. I can help you find someone great. Yeah.
Yeah, within my 1-room apartment with an air mattress.
And these days it would cost you probably $20,000. So
yeah. Did you get to the point where you had listings and stuff, or?
Yeah, I had. I think I ended up doing. What was it? I think it was 2 or 3. I had a couple of ones, because I just started, so I have mentors. So I helped them out with some things. So I don't know if I would technically count those, but I had 2 that were all on my own. And even one of them, we did a renovation for and everything. So that was cool.
You know what I thought was so weird? That during COVID, the 2020 part, that people were buying houses. It was so hard. You'd bid and someone would bid right after. Now, were you doing real estate in Tennessee?
Yeah, Tennessee.
Was the market like that? Where it
honestly, when I started, so I got my license at the like October of 2020, so the
Okay.
end of it. And the market had just started getting like a little bit crazy, but I mean
Okay.
it's even worse now. It is terrible now, like to be a buyer. And that's the thing, is it's a great time to sell your house because you can make a ton
Oh,
of
for
money.
sure.
But the thing is, it's like, well, where do I go? Because no one has anywhere to go. The inventory's low, and then, like you said, when you find something you like, it's off the market like that, or you put in. I mean, these people are having to put in like 20 offers before they get something accepted.
Yeah, and it's got to be over like asking
Way over,
price.
and then you have to put in an appraisal gap and all the. Oh, it's very tough. It's super tough,
Yeah,
especially
yeah. Who?
around like where I was living in Clarksville, because now I live closer to Nashville. But
Uh,
around Clarksville, it was like there's the Fort Campbell there, so a lot of the
oh.
Army people use like a VA loan and stuff like that. Well, there's so
Mhm.
many cash buyers coming in from like California and stuff now. If you have that, you're not going to get a house like with a VA
Wow.
loan. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really hard for people right now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And I mean, these homes are so overvalued. Like,
It's
yeah,
terrible.
I couldn't believe how many people were like buying homes just by watching a virtual tour. That was good enough as opposed to being in person and looking at things and turning faucets. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
Um, all right, I'm all worked up now about real estate. Let's talk more about you. So did anyone ever recognize you?
Through real estate, no.
Did anyone that you were working with um know that that you were
Yeah,
a pro wrestler?
everyone at my brokerage knew, and they knew
Oh,
that's
cool.
why I was barely ever in the office because I was always gone doing wrestling stuff. But yeah, they all thought they didn't understand it at all. And like that's the thing too. I think that's funny about wrestlers, and like
Uh,
when some people start getting big heads and stuff like that, it's like,
yeah, yeah.
dude, no one outside of wrestling knows who any of us are. So calm down. Like,
Yeah, totally.
you know what I mean? Like, even WWE people, like, unless you're like a 7 foot giant walking around, like, no one knows who these
No.
wrestlers are unless they are a wrestling fan, you know?
Yeah, like
So,
my mom and my grandma could be, at some restaurant. They wouldn't know who Hulk Hogan, or you know what I mean?
right.
Like even the simple ones, Stone Cold. Um, okay, so you grew up in Durham?
Yes, Durham, North Carolina.
Is that where Duke is?
Yeah, that's where Duke is.
Okay, so are you a fan?
Yeah, so when I grew up, I was a huge Duke basketball fan.
Sure.
And then I kind of switched over to Carolina because Duke didn't have a softball team at the time, and I'm a softball player. So I was
Oh,
kind of became a Carolina fan. And then when I went to college, I became a both fan because I had friends that played for both teams. So it's like
uh-huh.
I was just rooting for my friends. So I didn't care who won. I just wanted my friends to do good, you know?
Now, were you from a house of strictly Duke fans?
No.
Okay, so like you jumping ship to North
Yeah, it was
Carolina
not a big
was
deal.
not something like a source of contention at home.
No, my mom's not even really like a sports fan. And
Perfect.
my dad's the same, kind of like the same way as me. He just wanted to see a good game, you know? So
Were your parents from Durham too? Like,
my dad's from Virginia. My mom is from, she was born in Florida and then lived in Goldsboro, and she also lived in the UK because my nana's English. But
okay.
and met my dad at the base in Goldsboro, and then they moved to Durham.
So was your dad in the service?
Yeah, he was in the Air Force.
Oh, okay. And so was he still active when you were born?
No, yeah, so
Okay.
I like know nothing about that part of his life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Did you have siblings?
I have an older
Or
brother.
was he around for?
No, so my dad was done with all that before he had us. He did that when he was super young.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
And then where did your mom and dad cross paths?
and in Goldsboro, I think it was. I don't know exactly like where they met or anything like
Uh,
that. Like if I don't know the exact place. I just know that it was when he was at what's that called there? Seymour Johnson, I think it is, Air Force Base.
okay.
So they were just around, and yeah,
She wasn't like a USO girl or anything.
no,
Jumping out of cakes at their like dinner parties and
yeah,
stuff.
no.
Um, how would your family describe you as a child? Let's say 10 or under.
I think they would say that uh, I was always very like active and had a lot of
Mhm.
energy, and my mom, which she's sad about now because now I'm kind of selfish and like to myself.
Yeah.
But she was like, when you were younger, you would save all of your money that you got like for birthdays and stuff, and I would save it up all year and buy people. I would go to I was so excited. I would go to the Dollar Tree, and I would buy everyone in my family, like extended family, and like anyone who was like possibly related to us. I'd give them a gift for Christmas, and I was very giving. Yeah, I'm not like that anymore. Life has tarnished me, but
yeah. You know what? It's crazy. Do you have children?
no.
Oh, you're so lucky. You should keep it that way.
Oh,
I didn't realize
that's the plan.
I didn't realize how selfish a person I am until I had children.
Right.
And realized that I liked having my own time to do whatever I wanted
I'm
to do.
sure, yeah.
But okay, so was wrestling a presence at all at when you were younger?
Yeah, so my dad had it on the TV all the time, and I watched it with him all the time. And we went to shows, like it was called the RBC Center there. I don't know what it's called nowadays in Raleigh, because Raleigh's right next to Durham. So we'd go to the shows whenever we could. Like I was at the SummerSlam where they did the big TLC match.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was there sitting in the nosebleed seats. I was there for who was it? It was Brock and someone else. Was it Kurt Angle? They had like an hour long. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Maybe it was Brock and Kurt, but anyway, I was there for that. And yeah, and then I got in high school and I kind of stopped watching it because I'm too old for this. Grew out of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't think like ever that I was gonna be a wrestler though. Watching it,
you just enjoyed it.
I just enjoyed it. I never sat there and thought like I want to do this one day. Never.
Okay, 2 questions. Is your dad still around?
Yes, he is.
Second question. Do you ever overhear him and your mom talking about adopting a 45-year-old man to go to wrestling shows with because he's sick of going alone?
No, I haven't ever heard that.
Oh, you've never? That's weird.
My dad, if you like me, then my dad would like you because my dad's my biggest fan. And
is he so proud of you?
Oh my gosh, it's embarrassing.
Okay, so I know you're a very accomplished softball player.
Yeah.
What is he more proud of, the accomplishments on that field or what you're doing now?
That's a very good question, and I've never thought about that. Honest, I would just have to say the same because they're so different. Like when I played softball, he remembers. Like I don't remember anything. My memory is very bad anyway. Like I'm gonna end up in the home that you're working at for sure. Like I don't.
Yeah, it's so expensive. But go on.
Yeah, so
it's crazy expensive.
I won't end up there. But he remembers all the stats from like every game that I played and what happened in every game. And I'm like, I don't even remember that. And then same thing with my matches. He'll remember everything from it and tell me what happened or tell me the stats. And it's just like, thanks. I didn't know that. So yeah, he made I remember my graduation video. He made everyone sit down and watch this video that he made, like a compilation of like all of my things in softball and stuff. And it was so embarrassing. Like it was really, really nice. Don't get me wrong.
Were your teammates watching this as well?
No, it was all it was all family members.
Oh, okay. Because if your teammates, that would have been rough.
It's things that only my dad and like my mom sort of would be interested in, and everybody else sitting around was like, okay, cool.
Is your mom, was she supportive of the idea of becoming a professional wrestler?
Well, I didn't. So when I first moved, actually, I moved out of the house, and I told my dad exactly what I was doing, but I didn't.
You moved out. You weren't thrown out.
No, I moved out. Well, I had already
already
lived on my own prior, but there was a period in life where I had to move back home for a little bit, and I was like, okay, like 1 month in, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so that's when I decided that I wanted to be a wrestler randomly, and I told my dad what I was doing, but I just told my mom. Like my mom knew I was like very much a free spirit, so I basically just told her like, I'm moving out of Florida. Bye. And, And once I got there, like a weekend, then I told her why I moved down there because I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear like,
for sure.
So yeah, but she was super supportive. I mean, obviously like a little worried just because it's dangerous, but
Yeah.
very supportive and happy for me.
Did your dad kind of run interference for you, like as the wrestling fan saying, she's going to be fine, don't worry,
I have no idea what their conversation about it was. I have no idea.
Mhm.
I just know that they came down to visit me and they came to the school and like watched me do the international, and it was fine.
Did they have expectations for you that you were going to go to college afterwards? Or was that after high school?
I did go to college.
No, but did you have a choice in that? Like, even if,
Oh
say
yeah.
you didn't want to go, were you going because they wanted you to get your education?
Well, I would have a bit of a choice because I was the first person in my family to go to college. So
Oh, cool.
you know what I mean? So it wasn't like, but I knew the only way I was going to go is by getting a scholarship. So that's why I
Sure.
really devoted myself to softball and made sure I got my scholarship. And yeah, I mean, they were just super proud of that, but it wasn't like, you're going to go to college or else, nothing like that.
Yeah, yeah. What was your best season in college?
My freshman season.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did you hit?
I don't remember.
I saw a video of you hitting home runs.
Yeah, I hit I hit quite a few home runs that season. I think
Is
my
that a good feeling?
like high 200s, like almost 300, which is good.
Oh, yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, but
Is it a great feeling hitting a home run?
oh yeah,
Yeah, I bet.
it's like you don't feel it, like when you hit a home run, it's just like, you cannot describe it. You don't feel it.
Oh
It's weird.
God.
It's really
I'll
weird.
never be able to hit a home run or dunk a basketball. You know what I mean? I don't know what that feels like, but I
Yeah.
imagine it'd be so cool.
Yeah, but honestly, the best feeling is the making a play at the plate from the out, because I was an outfielder. So like throwing someone out at the plate, like, because that's super rare, and so when it happens, that's freaking awesome.
Did you throw it on? Did it even on a hop, or was it straight?
Oh, straight. I have that's why I got recruited to colleges, because I could hit home runs and I had a cannon.
Are you familiar with Bo Jackson?
Yeah.
You know there's this one highlight of him throwing a guy. He's in right field, and yeah, it
just
right to the catcher and nailed the guy. No bounce, no nothing.
Yeah, that Bo Jackson documentary on, I think it's like a 30 for 30 or something, is great.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
What was he going to say? So when was there any playing softball after college? Is there anything like a semi-pro league or a pro league that you can go into?
There is, but you can't really make a living off of it.
Were you done with it?
Oh, well, that's why freshman year was my best year, because I wanted to quit after that. I hated it. I hated like I said, I was very free spirit, and I loved my teammates, and I liked my coaches, right? I did. It's not like I hated them or nothing like that. I just didn't like being told what to do. And I wasn't rebellious, I wasn't rude, nothing like that, but there was just something about not having a choice that I didn't like. But
was it different from high school? Like, was there any element of that in high school?
In high school, I was so committed to making it like to college and getting a scholarship. And then once I did that, it's like, well, I did that. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
It was kind of, I didn't want to play softball after, because my favorite sport was actually volleyball, but I knew I wouldn't go Division I for volleyball because I wasn't tall enough. So,
okay.
So softball was my best sport, even though it wasn't my favorite.
Did your coaches know that, after freshman year, like, you didn't want to be on the team?
I think they knew around, definitely not my sophomore year, but definitely around like my junior year, because I graduated. I didn't even play my senior year. I graduated early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I graduated early. So I graduated, it was senior year, and then I graduated that December, and then the softball season spring, but I was like, nope, I'm out.
that worked out. Was that the reason that you graduated early, so you wouldn't even be in the position that...
Yeah, I was done.
Oh, nice. That was well thought out then.
Yeah.
All right, so what were you planning to do when you graduated?
I wanted to go into sports broadcasting.
Oh, okay.
But the thing about that was, so I was in a relationship in college, like a serious relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went into college, I wanted to do sports broadcasting, but I got in that relationship and like we were talking about, you're young and stupid. And we were talking about like
Yeah.
family and all this stuff. And to get into sports broadcast, when you first start, you have to work like 12 o'clock to 5 a.m. and feel, you know what I'm saying? You have to work those hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, well, that's never going to work with a family. So I can't do that anymore. So I was going to like do advertising and stuff like that. Well, we broke up and I had like what, 4 months left. And I was like, well, I can't go into like the broadcast stuff now. It's too late. So the plan was, I was like, I'm just going to go into sports, like work for a sports team. And then somehow I'll find my way. Like I said,
Okay.
I was a free spirit. That was my thought process. I just was like, I'll figure it out.
Did
So
this guy that you were dating in college, did he go on to become a sports broadcaster
no,
like in the news or anything?
no,
Like
no,
he stole your position?
no, he's finished. So he's in Finland I think he's like wrote a book about like he did PE, which
Oh.
I was like, you're in college to be a PE teacher? Like to me, I was like, that's different. But no, he wrote like a book about like mental toughness and all this stuff. And I think he's doing good.
Okay, yeah, good for him.
Yeah, I wish.
Have you read his book?
No, it's in Finnish. So
Oh, okay, there you go. So the answer is no.
yeah.
So are you aware of what's going on in wrestling at that time? Like,
No.
no, you completely
Yeah.
like stopped after when you went to high school.
Yeah, like around probably like the middle of high school, just stopped. Like I think in high school I still went to like shows because it was live wrestling is awesome. So I would show
Yeah.
my dad, but I didn't watch it on TV or like keep up with it.
Okay. But was your dad?
Oh yeah, my dad has always watched wrestling.
And were you aware of independent wrestling?
Yes, because yes, but I didn't realize there were so many like independent promotions out there
Mm-hmm.
because we used to go all the time it was called Bethesda, and we would see Matt and Jeff Hardy there sometimes because they're from
Oh.
Cameron. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they would come and watch, and I knew that they were like, they were the Hardy Boys, and they would come and watch this random promotion. But how I ended up knowing I wanted to become a wrestler, and this is kind of fast forwarding, was because I was back home, and me and my dad went to an independent show like in the Boondocks, and it was terrible. The wrestling was so bad, but I had a great time. It was really entertaining. And I woke up the next morning, and that's when I had my epiphany that I wanted to be a wrestler.
Really? No, okay, so what made and I don't mean this like in an offensive way. What made you think you could succeed as a pro wrestler?
Yeah, just because I'd always played sports and I've always been
Mhm.
athletic, and I knew that was a big part of it. And
Sure.
also because I used to act when I was little, and I knew that was also another part of it. So I was like, that's both of those worlds combined. I can totally do it.
Okay, you wake up, I'm going to become a pro wrestler. What do you do?
Went to the
You do.
Google machine and I Googled how to become a professional wrestler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's very weird thing. Like if you don't know anybody in the business or,
Yeah.
very weird. Like, how do you get into this? And I found out you have to go to school.
Uh-huh.
And so I looked up lots of different wrestling schools, and I'll try to keep this short. I was going to go to a school in Atlanta, but
Okay.
so I packed up all my bags and I drove there, and I was going to stay in like the Wrestler Hotel for a while until I found my way. Well,
Uh-huh.
this place was in a super sketchy part of town, and the school was attached to like a club. And nowadays I would think like, well, duh, it's a wrestling school. Of course, it's
Yeah.
something random. But I had no idea. So I was like, this can't be right. Like, this is like this company has just taken my money, and now I'm in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, there's no wrestling school. So I packed all my stuff back into my car and called down to Florida, the Dudley Boys School. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, I'm coming there. And so I stayed in a hotel like on that like Kissimmee Strip for a week. And I went, and then I found like a room in a house, and I went to school there.
And so did you go there blindly meaning like did you know anyone there? Like any type of safety net?
No, I
Was that intimidating?
I used to live on no, but you have to realize this too. So like I said, so I have bipolar 2,
Yeah,
and
so me too.
And I used to look back on these days and be like, oh, I was young and wild, but I realized a lot of time I was probably manic. And so,
Totally.
so like that's what happened. But like
It's like,
I'm grateful for it. It made me do a lot of things.
yeah, it's like you know what? I guess I really didn't need to go on a 6-hour walk. Like I remember like all that stuff. All right, go on.
Yeah, but I just went. Well, what's funny too is when I went down there, I thought I was gypped again because this place was also like attached to some gym, and there was no sign for it at all. Like it was an old like it said like needing massage or something. Like it used to be a weird massage parlor, And I was like, I'm in the wrong place again. Are you kidding me? And then I saw like because the doors were all shut because I got there early. Of course, I get everywhere early, and and then I see this old man like walking in because he was the guy who ended up like helping out in the office. And I come in and I'm like, is this the right place? And he was like, yeah, welcome. And that was that.
So it was like an unmarked, like gym almost.
Yeah, it was in the back of a gym, and it was just literally like a room with a ring in it, pretty much.
Had you ever, up to that point, been inside a wrestling ring before?
No.
Were you excited to do that for the first time?
Yeah, but I didn't because at that school, they're old school. So I wasn't allowed to get into the ring for a while. Like I had to earn getting into the ring. So I didn't get in it that day. I mean, I could feel the canvas with my hands. And stuff, but I had to pass like these like physical tests on the outside of the ring first. Then I got to get in the ring and, run the ropes. And then you realize how bad that hurts.
But doesn't hurt anymore though.
If I take some time off, it will hurt, but no, not. But like if I've taken even like a month off, getting back in there, I'll feel it.
Oh my God! Oh, I didn't realize it was like that. What was the hardest thing to like pick up on?
Probably just like your footing in the ring because you don't realize like it's not that it's soft, but it's a bit like it has like a bounce to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're running around and stuff, just getting like your feet underneath you. I think that was probably the first thing I can remember being a little bit difficult.
And were you training with other first timers?
Yeah. So how our school worked was because some schools they do like you have to come in January and then it lasts for 3 months. And if you don't get in that time slot, then you don't get in until the next one. Where our school was anyone could come in at any time and someone could be almost an advanced class and you could be a beginner, but you're not working with them. So everyone has like their own timeline. It's kind of hard to explain, but we had a list of moves and stuff that we would do. And you just would go in and like Devon would work with you that day on this move and whoever else needed to do that move, they would be in there with you. You know what I mean?
Sure. Do they work on like promos and stuff?
We would do promos when Bubba came in. So we would call it Bubba Day. And everyone was super intimidated when Bubba would come in because they knew it would be promo day. And we only did promos when Bubba was in there.
Is it difficult at first?
I didn't have a problem with it because I used to be super outgoing and stuff.
And you'd performed.
Yeah, and it wasn't a big deal for me. I've never been like long-winded with my promos, but I can always like hit a one-liner or something, and I've never had So I felt okay with it. The funniest story from there is when Bubba comes in and there's a new student, he makes you get up there and you have to like introduce yourself, blah, blah, blah. And he says, what's your favorite? He said, what's your favorite match? Or what's your favorite wrestling memory? I think that's what it was actually. And I said, it was SummerSlam TLC. And it was the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian. And he says, oh, really? Who else was in that match?
Yeah.
And I look at, because as a kid, all I can remember is Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
They were my favorites. I don't even remember the Dudley Boys being in there. And like face, like their eyes got big, like, oh my God, Kailey. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, was it y'all? And like, but because the way I said it, he just kind of like started laughing, but like tried not to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He probably thought that I was trying to kiss his ass when I said that was my favorite wrestling memory. When in reality, I had no idea that he was even in the match.
Yeah, totally. Then you took like the rug out from him. You know, he was really excited. Then you just like killed it.
Yeah.
So who tells you that you're ready for your first match, or do you say I'm ready for my first match?
Well, that's another story too.
Okay.
Got kind of in trouble for that.
Okay.
So you have the beginners class where you learn all the basics, and then you go into called advanced class after you pass a certain test. And then class you work on matches. And then it's kind of like just an unspoken thing that whenever they tell you you're ready, that's when you can start working indies. Well, I got my first ever tryout before I ever stepped into a wrestling school because I didn't know any better, and I found the PC address, and I went and I like rang their little door buzzer and introduced myself, and I got my first tryout that way.
What were you wearing, if I may ask?
So I was actually very I had my resume because in my head I didn't know any better. I thought that I could work there in marketing and train as a wrestler at the same time.
Oh, okay.
I showed up with my resume and they were like, "Do you have an appointment?" And I was like, "Hi, I'm here to give my resume and I'm also interested in becoming a wrestler." You know? I didn't know any better.
I'm here to see Stephanie McMahon, please.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't know. And so I was wearing like business clothes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's how I got my first tryout. And so when I went to my first tryout, I'd only been at school for like 3 months. So definitely, not match ready, nothing like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And at my tryout, that's when they were doing that first Mae Young ever.
Oh.
Aunt Canyon Seaman at the time was basically like, "Hey, we really like you. You're athletic, you can talk, but you have no match experience, and that's what we're looking for right now." So he said, "So go out and have some matches and just get some experience, and then we'll talk to you later," basically. I was like, "Okay, cool." So I go back, and at this point, I'm getting into advanced class, and I start having matches. But Devon and Bubba, they were still with WWE, so they were on the road a lot.
Okay.
Well, they're not here all the time. So when the heck am I ever going to get this clearance? So what I did, I was like, all right, here's the game plan now. I'm going to go play football. And that's going to be my wrestling gimmick also. I'm going to make it my wrestling gimmick. And I'll be gone from the school for long enough that when I come back, it won't be a big deal that like I'm working matches. Like they'll forget about me, right? They'll forget. Yeah. So I remember I came back after a few months of playing football, and all I did was I came into the ring and I speared a guy, and that was it. It was like at the end of a match, and I hadn't heard from like Devon or Bubba in months. The next day, I get a phone call from Devon. Not very happy.
Oh wow!
Because I haven't got clearance, right? I was like, "Well, I've been gone long enough. Like I'm technically not even a student there anymore, you know?"
Yeah.
So whatever. And then I was like, well, so we had bad blood for a while, but now,
Did you feel like really down after that call?
No, I kind of felt like more motivated.
Oh, was it more like, FYU then,
Well, it was more like, well, I'll make it, like, whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I don't need it. So so did you ever resolve things with them?
So I have with Bubba, not with Devon. So I don't know if me and Devon still have heat or not. I don't know. But
so you never returned to that,
no.
Their training. Wow.
No.
Okay. So then what do you do? Like, is someone giving you guidance of how to hit the road? How to,
No.
So how do you get from there to NWA, like women's world champion? Like
I had friends that I had a lot of friends in Florida when I lived in Florida, and all of them were wrestling friends, and so I would work like the same shows as them, and we would get booked on the same shows. And then I actually stopped wrestling for a while because I was like done with wrestling, because my boyfriend at the time was also a wrestler, and he didn't like the fact that I wrestled. Once again, I chose love over that. So
oh my God, it's not the same. Is it another European?
No, this guy.
Okay.
No, this guy is not European. No.
Okay.
My fiance now is.
Oh, what's going on? So this guy, when you took your hiatus, was he from the United States?
Yes, he was actually from North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
yeah,
do you
but
resent that
it was a
now?
it was a mix of that, and it wasn't just that though. So
Okay.
it was a mix of
Sure, sure.
like I started realizing that wrestling, like the behind the scenes, was very like I have pretty high morals, you know,
Mhm.
and I felt like a lot of people in wrestling didn't, and I didn't like that, and I was like, I don't want to really be around this anymore, you know.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a mix of lots of different things, so I'm not totally blaming my ex or nothing like that.
Okay.
And yeah, I was just done for a while, but wrestling is the type of thing that once you do it, it's kind of I feel like you'll always be in it somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just done for a while, and then one day I got a message from David Lagana,
Mhm.
who was helping out with the NWA for a long time, and he always had his eye on new talent because he was who like brought in new talent, and
Yeah.
he, hey, are you really done wrestling? And I was just like, why? Because I kind of missed it, you know.
Wait, so how long had it been since you decided to go on this hiatus and this call?
I mean, it was probably at least like half a year.
Oh, wow. Okay, go on.
Yeah. And I just said, well, you know, like, what do you got for me? And he explained what the role would be. And it was like the Nick's bodyguard type of thing.
Mhm.
And it was just sounded so perfect because we had no, it was honestly just going to possibly be a one off for NWA 70. We didn't think it was
Mhm.
going to really turn into anything. And it was a good way to kind of dip my toe back into it and see if I wanted to, you know, get back into it without actually getting in the ring, but just being around it.
Sure.
And then it happened and it ended up being like a thing. And now I'm here.
Do you ever or during that time or during your hiatus, do you keep in contact with your dad as far as what's going on in your career? Like where he'll like encourage you to like when you're on your hiatus, for example, maybe take a break or
I moved back home during my hiatus because I was living with my ex at the time, and so I had nowhere to live. So
Oh God.
yeah, so I had to move because I moved out of my apartment in Florida to move in with him, and then we
Okay.
up like very shortly after realized shouldn't live together, and yeah, I had to move back home.
Well, I think all people should have to live together before they get married.
One hundred
You
percent
know?
too.
I
Yeah,
I also think people should have to take a test to own an animal, but that's another story. Um,
yeah.
so you go home. Is it nice like to kind of return back to like where you grew up and it's safe?
Because I knew that my family had my back, and it was a very like it was that was a hard time in my life, and then just kind of figuring out like what am I going to do for a job, obviously all of that
Yeah,
stuff, because I've never been one to just sit around, like I have to be doing something.
sure, sure.
So I didn't even know what the heck was I going to do for a job. Could I put my degree to use or just start, you know, go back to college and figure something else out? I didn't know. um and so
Did
I worked for a moving company for a while, but
oh, okay. Well, at least to keep you physically fit at that point. Um, were your parents I just want to go back to your love life real quickly. Were your parents upset with the Finnish fella and then this other guy that they kind
um
of both swayed you off of your path?
no, the Finnish guy not at all, because the Finnish guy was totally my fault with the breakup.
Okay.
I went cray cray, and he was a very nice,
Mm-hmm.
very sweet, very nice boy. Like
Sure.
I would have broke up with me too.
Okay. Okay. For
So,
sure.
you know, the last one that I just said, uh,
Hmm.
that one was not me. I had that one was not me. So,
Okay. All right. I'll get you back into wrestling now. Um, how much of like your character right now is you? Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
A lot of it, just because like the no talking thing was not really me. That was kind of hard. But
Yeah. Yeah.
also in a way it is me because I do keep to myself, like even backstage
Hmm.
and stuff like that. I mean, everyone will tell you like I'm cool with them, but I'm not like super close with anybody. I'm just to myself. I kind of stay in my own lane.
Sure.
And as far as I feel like that's how Camille is too. She just doesn't care to make friends. She's just
Hmm.
doing the thing and there to win, you know? So it is a lot just like me. I'm not a mean person, and
Sure.
not, but I also wouldn't say I'm overly nice. I just kind of am there. You know,
Is there like a jealousy, even amongst like your other, your other pro wrestling, friends? Is there, could you sense jealousy? Like you're on top right now,
mhm.
but is that weird? Like, that people actually want your spot?
I've only ever sensed it from one person ever, so everybody else is good at hiding it if they do feel that way.
Oh, okay.
For the most part, our locker room is really cool and really laid back, and I also think that I do a good job of like diffusing that.
Hmm.
I don't like I have a handle on the locker room. I don't want it to get out of hand, and I want to make sure that it stays cool, you know.
Sure.
But I also don't like abuse my power or anything like that.
Yeah.
I get in there with my dog. I have my spot where I always sit, and I do my own makeup. I don't even use the makeup artist, and I'll talk to people if they come by, and that's just how I am. I don't like, I'm not clicky with anybody. I'm just
Hmm. What about, do you design your own gear?
I had someone that designed me something, and then I've just been using for like the colorways. I've been using the same gear,
Hmm.
like pattern, you know what I mean, but just
Sure, sure.
different colors.
Um, are you are you able to watch wrestling as a fan anymore, like on TV?
No,
No, it ruined, like, becoming a pro wrestler ruined being a wrestling fan.
yeah, just because you notice like things that normally people. Well, nowadays the fans might notice because the fans know everything.
Yeah, totally.
But I will say that it made me respect like the bumps more, because when you're watching as a fan, one, you don't know how it feels, and then two, they make everything look so easy that like nothing looks scary on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It just
Like,
looks,
there's some sense of danger.
yeah, exactly. But like if
Mhm.
you got up there and you stood on the top rope, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh," and
Yeah.
to take a bump from there is like, and when you watch it on TV, it doesn't transcend. So it made me appreciate that stuff more.
I bet. Um, as like the women's world champion, are you required to, like, do a certain amount of social media postings and stuff every day, or a certain amount? No, not at all?
No, I got rid of my Twitter for the longest time, and I
Sure.
recently brought it back because I'm not even running it. I have a social media person that is running that for me because I don't want nothing.
Oh, okay.
I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, yeah, I imagine, like, it's like a constant thing. You gotta, like, kind of keep your name out in these social media things. But I guess you don't really at this point.
I mean, it is helpful because a lot of people
Yeah.
that, and like that's another thing that's kind of hard for me with wrestling because I always grew up playing sports. And for me, my success and how well I was doing spoke for itself. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Your batting
Like,
average,
there were numbers that showed you were.
exactly. And it's like
Mhm.
either you're hitting good or you're not type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Where in wrestling, everything is so objective and a little bit political. And like, so people, I feel like a lot of people, and this is going to sound so mean, but a lot of people, they didn't like grow up being very successful. A lot of people in wrestling is a certain type of people. And
Mhm.
and once they get in wrestling, that's their moment to really shine and like put themselves over. And so they do a great job at it because they like putting themselves over and like talking about themselves,
Yeah.
which is great for wrestling and great for self promotion. And in these days, in this like time period, it really does
Sure.
over and get you booking.
Mhm.
But that I have a very hard time with that. I'm just not that type of person. I just
Yeah.
I can't I can't do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, because that's who you are, and
Yeah.
you can't help it. I mean, like, that's who you are. Um, are you able to take vacations? And I'm not talking about like going to Florida, but you have some. Have you? When was the last like vacation that wrestling wasn't involved that you were able to take?
Yeah, so that's the thing that I actually love about working with the NWA, and that we have our
Hmm.
tapings only like once every 2.5, 3 months.
Hmm.
Other than that, I choose all my bookings. I choose when I work and stuff like that. So I can pretty much take time whenever I want, which is great.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask you one last wrestling question.
Okay.
What is the best part of being a pro wrestler?
Best part of being a pro wrestler, it probably that feeling when the match is done and you know that you just did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not really another feeling like that. And it's just nice because you're like, okay, we did it. You know, you're not having to worry about anything else. So you like completed your mission and you completed it well. So that's a great feeling. That, and I also really like, it's kind of hard to be on all the time at like signings and stuff, but at the time I really like appreciate those signings because as bad as some fans are, you know, on social media.
Wait, are there rude, like people who are rude?
No, not there.
Okay.
That's why I like the signings. Like those people that come up to you there are always so like appreciative, and it makes you of them, and like that's why you have a job almost, because people are watching. So that's nice, and it makes you have faith in like, okay, well there are some like nice fans out there.
Yeah.
Like the only bad people are ever on the internet. They never will say this stuff to your face. So
oh, okay, so like you're walking to the ring, you're not getting
walking to the ring is a bit different. I'm totally cool with getting heat.
You're fine with them saying whatever.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I love that. I remember I was a bad guy in Mexico one time and I was getting stuff thrown at me and I was like, hell yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. You weren't scared at all?
No.
Okay. Okay, this is my last wrestling question. I'm sorry. So as the 7 to 10-year-old version of you, is that version of you proud of the current you that became a pro wrestler? Like, can you step away out of your pro wrestling body and say, wow,
I would say that I'd be proud of what I'm accomplishing and like the person that I am and the life that I'm living outside, and like keeping such a level head, because that's the one thing I take the most pride in, is that I'm very like down to earth, extremely.
Yeah.
Because the whole like fame thing, if that were to ever happen to me, it's a weird concept. So I like to really keep my feet grounded in reality.
Sure.
So I really separate like my wrestling life from my everyday life.
Would you rather get attention or not get attention?
If I'm at a signing or something, that's what I'm supposed then get attention, because whoever promoter brought me in would like to make some money. So
yeah.
I want the promoter to make money.
For sure. But you know, sometimes like with me with like bipolar, I just kind of want to be on like the perimeter, in the shadow.
That's what I'm for everyday life, like him or walking around, I don't want to be noticed at all. Like no. But that's what I'm saying. It's like a completely like separate life, you know?
Yeah. I'm not going to keep you much longer because I'm probably in a lot of trouble from my wife downstairs and the two monsters that came out of her. Can I ask you, though, 5 non-wrestling related yes or no questions?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. The person who took you to prom, could you easily beat that person up or get them to the ground now?
Yes.
No problem. Okay. Can you swim with your eyes open?
If I had to, but it would really sting.
Yeah. Okay, this is a big one. For $3.2 million, would you hang a life-size like portrait, someone painted it, of me in the front hall of wherever you live for the rest of your life? Not like not a nude or a partial nude, more of like one of these type things.
100%.
Off. 3.2, you do it?
I would do it, yeah.
Awesome. Have you ever been catfished?
No.
Okay. And finally, you're doing fantastic. Do you ever have dreams where you have a tail?
Not that I can remember, because you don't remember all of them. So not any that I remember.
Okay, good answer. One time I asked somebody if they remembered the day they were born, and they said they did.
That's impressive.
I don't think it's I still don't think it's possible, but maybe I was talking to a hologram and it was actually a computer. Who knows?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on and putting up with my stupid questions at times.
Your questions, because they were different, so I appreciate that.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, it really was a pleasure having you, and I was looking forward to it all day today. And I have some good stories to share with some people who won't remember the stories that I share probably 10 minutes afterwards.
That's the best.
Yeah, you know what? It's weird going to a job where people don't know your name, but you know what I mean? Because they don't remember my name from 5 minutes.
No,
but anyways,
my grandpa had Alzheimer's, and so I eventually got to the point where I would just give him a new answer every time, just to keep it creative. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I wish you health and happiness, and thank you again. And I hope we can talk again soon.
For sure. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Take care.